Okay, good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 1st. Welcome to the Johnson County Drainage Board meeting. First item on the agenda, first thing we need to do is swearing in. Sure.
Okay, all of you knowing yourselves to be witnesses, that is presenting information to the board, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay, next up is the approval of last meeting's minutes.
I move to be approved.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Greg, it looks like you're up.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. Surveyor's report. You'll notice that the agenda has a new look. This is, as Roger was indicating earlier, part of a state statute that became law July 1st, requiring that the governing bodies of a government entity such as the Johnson County Drainage Board, which is appointed, its agents for all meetings on the agenda together with notices of meetings include the name of the board member, the appointing authority, the date of appointment, and the expiration. So the agenda is a little bit longer than what it used to be. Second item, you've got before you the ditch balances for last month. Item 3, spraying has begun. We started spraying yesterday. It's a little bit later than we normally do. The contractor we're using switches between us and Shelby County as far as which one they start with. And then we had some rain, so it's kind of knocked us back a little bit. It's also the last year in our contract, so this fall we'll have to rebid that. And then let you know that we do rely on a handful of good contractors as far as our maintenance. And like all good contractors, they've been quite busy. We are on their agendas, and even though our funds are in place now, it's taken a month or two in order to get those projects started. We'll also be working on some bidding of larger projects this fall for bidding in the spring. That's the end of my report.
One question, Greg. Hey, Roger, you might be able to answer this. Where does it kick in for bidding? Is it 50,000 and over? Is that the threshold for that?
No, it's anything above 50 and less than 150,000, you obtain 3 quotes.
Okay.
Anything over 150, you go through the formal advertisement for bid process.
Okay.
There are exceptions, single source purchases, emergencies.
Yeah,
and so
emergency
forth.
repairs and stuff. Okay.
Compatibility is another reason with existing systems.
Okay.
Okay, next item up on the agenda is DR 3590, Meadowbrook Section 1A and 1B.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. This is a municipal subdivision, a subdivision that's in a municipality. This one's Bargersville. You'll note that this is the 3rd time that we've kicked this down the road. I know our rules say that we get one, they get one, and the administrators get one. I'm asking for to be able to take this off of the agenda, just because it's taking so long for them to work out with the municipality, and they have to get that done before they can come back here. I would like to then put them back on the agenda once they have their Burke approval letter, and then they can re-notice, and I'll put them back on the agenda.
I think the board can, using its discretion, agree to continue the matter without a reset. They can petition to get put back on, go through the notice process, and start from scratch essentially. You have the inherent authority to manage your calendar, especially since this is through no fault of anyone over whom you have any control. As I understand it, the issue's bouncing back and forth between the municipality and the county for approval process.
Okay, so you make a motion. Yes.
So I just make a motion to put a recess on this with re-advertisement to be mandatory.
Yes.
Okay.
Second. I think you have to.
Does that mean we're gonna be notified again when it shows up in front of the board to the property owner?
Yes.
Bargersville, it has to be approved by Bargersville first?
There's something in the process that they have to get Bargersville approval before they can address our comments.
So you don't know when that agenda is?
Whenever they can make Bargersville happy.
No, I wanna see what the problem with that. They gotta make our landowner happy also. Thank you.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is DR 25030, 3600 Kingsbridge, sections 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Again, for the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. This is actually Kingsbridge Section 3 and 4. And I'm going to read my contingency. I'm going to recommend approval with some conditions, and then I'll let them present their project, and if I need to, I can repeat these. Number one, contingent on Burke's final approval letter. Number two, a 25-foot setback on the outlet with approved head wall and armoring. Number three, $25,000 bond on the outlet itself. And number four, a 48-hour notice before working in the easement. And I'll let them do their presentation.
Greg, maybe you should be more precise. That would not include, your 48 hours is not to include Saturdays, Sundays, or holidays. I assume?
It does.
Okay. I think that should be made clear, because if you just say 48-hour notice without conditioning it.
Yeah, a lot of the contractors like to work on Saturdays and Sundays. But we
Well, if
have
you want
now
to
somebody
include-
in place that can handle that.
If you want to include Saturdays and Sundays as part of the 48 hours, that's fine as well. I just assumed you did not.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, in that case, there's no need to qualify it then.
Good evening, David Marks, E3 Companies. I'm the engineer of record for Kingsbridge. We were before the board last year, I think, early last year and then late last year for sections 1 and 2 of Kingsbridge, which is off of US 31. It's within the municipal limits of Franklin. So we're here again for approvals of section 3 and 4, as Greg said. 3 having no encroachment into any of the legal drain easement, and then 4 having an outlet to the drain itself. Let the PDF come up. So this is for section 3. If you could pan down just a little bit. It's just a handful of lots there in the middle. It's surrounded by what is existing section 1, what is now existing section, or partially existing section 2. All of the stormwater management was pre-master planned at the section 1 stage, and this one doesn't propose anything new other than expansion of a basin that was put in, which discharges to a tributary to the legal drain, but not within legal drain easement itself. So that's section 3. If you want to pull open section 4. You can see it in the dash lines there, but it's just directly northwest. This one does have the last, I think it's the 8th stormwater management area, and it does discharge directly to the drain, within the easement. There is floodplain and floodway out here. We have all of our DNR permitting in hand for that. That was done as part of section 2 previously, which includes some park ground there and some work along the drain itself, adding in a trail. Some negotiations that were had between the developer and Franklin to dedicate some land for a park for the city. So this is section 4, and it will then finalize all of the Kingsbridge subdivision. So we're here tonight for approval. And we take no issue with any of the contingencies that Greg brought up. We're perfectly fine with all of that.
Okay, does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Okay. Board.
You have any questions, Bob?
No,
Did you want me to read those contingents again?
yeah.
Put them in the record.
Those 4 items again, a final approval letter from Burke, a 25-foot setback on the outlet with approved head wall and armoring, $25,000 bond on the outlet itself, and 48 hours notice before working in the easement.
I would make a motion to approve with those conditions.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
sir.
Appreciate it.
Next item is DR 393605, North Forsyth Street Bridge.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. This is the Forsyth Street Bridge that encroaches over the top of Hurricane. We do have a letter from Burke, outside engineer, recommending approval. So does the county surveyor. I assume, do we have somebody here? Anybody online?
You can't tell how they log in, who they're from, where they're from. Okay. Okay, well, if you're online, can you state your name, please, and who you're with? Or at least confirm that you're with USI? Okay.
I'm here for the Culvers project. Is that what you're asking for?
Oh, no, no, sir.
No.
Okay, so,
I mean, Greg, I know this is a municipal project. I know we're working with Franklin on this. I don't think funding's been arranged for this. So I don't know if you want to hear from Franklin or if you want to go ahead and approve. I mean, if it meets all requirements, we can approve it. I mean, I know their engineer isn't here and USI isn't here, so do we need, unless there's somebody in the audience that has something derogatory or negative to say about it, I'd want to hear about, but
Yeah.
other than that, I don't see a reason why we couldn't approve it. But I think Andrew just asked the audience if anybody's got any comments about it.
does anybody have any comments on this? Questions? Okay.
I mean, they're just replacing metal culverts with concrete culverts. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a question.
Greg, do you have any problems with riprap and everything being? What I'm thinking of is, this is where kids are and everything else. Is there any chance that that the riprap will be choked with concrete or anything like that, or is it just gonna be dumped riprap?
It's just gonna be dumped. In fact, I used to play right in this creek too. So,
There was a creek there then?
there was a creek back then, yeah.
I
Before the
I didn't know
glaciers.
whether you had any concerns over
If you notice, he doesn't have hair.
But it's minimum riprap placement. And it is, although it does have the trail next to it, it isn't in the park itself.
Okay. You don't have any problems with that?
I don't.
So Bob, you good? Okay.
I made a motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item is DR 25-000-3603 East Burn Farm minor plat.
How you doing this evening? My name's Andrew Barkosi with Barkosi Surveying, representing the owner Terry Johnson. This property is located up in Clark Township, right at the northeast corner of Watson and County Road 525. This site actually had a previously approved roadside subdivisions. I know you guys didn't really deal with roadsides and the drainage board, but there was already 4 lots approved on here. And the owner has decided to make the lots bigger, which kicked him into the minor plat process. So we've gone through the minor plat. And with the minor plat, you're actually getting detention now with the 4 residences. So it's actually a little bit better for the area. So what we've designed, the area is kind of comes off in different directions. So we've designed it to collect where we can from the impervious surface and slow it down to the regulations of the county and then slowly release it. So pretty standard. We are requesting 1 waiver. One of the detention areas is a small flow area, so we've had to choke the outlet hole orifice to smaller than 4 inches. This will allow us to meet the regulations and reduce it to what needs to be met for the area. So pretty straightforward here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
For the record, Richard Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. We've reviewed the site. They do have 1 waiver that they're requesting for the facility that's on Lot 3 to go from a 4-inch to a 3-inch orifice. They would also have a special screening. We recommend approval of the waiver. They also, I'm also asking for a condition that the construction documents for the proposed pond and outlet, including the plans and operations and maintenance manual, be submitted to the planning engineer for final approval of engineering details. This is within the standards for the Johnson County Technical Standards Manual and the drainage ordinance, and we recommend approval with the waiver of item 3A, the orifice, and the condition of the plans being approved by the planning engineer.
Thank you. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, sir, if you could step up to the podium and state your name and address, I'd appreciate it.
My name is Ricky Gray. I live the next over from that Lot 4 they talking about, 5498 Watson Road. My question is, what's that gonna help me for the drainage? Which way they gonna run that drainage? If they run it east and west, that's gonna affect me. And why are they putting the drainage in there? I've been out there for 35 years, and we ain't never had no, that field ain't never had no water in it. Why they now decide to put a drainage in? For, they gonna build or?
Andrew?
Andrew will answer that.
You're the east adjoiner here?
Yeah.
Right here? Yep. So actually, what detention does, it actually decreases your runoff. So you actually already have a good flow that comes down through there and comes that way. So what we'll do is we'll actually capture this water and it'll hold in this right here until it slowly releases. So you're actually gonna get better drainage across your property.
See, my neighbors down the street, they get the worst of it. They just put 2 new homes down there, and they come to shower, their houses is full of water. And, right there, what he talking about, that drainage here, there's a clay tile runs underneath that field right there. And if they go in there and disturb that clay tile, it's gonna affect me. It's gonna build up. Already, if it rains, my field back there is full of water.
Well, actually, if we hit the tile or get near the tile, we have to leave tiles in place. That's a state law. So like, we can't destroy or damage them. We can reroute them if we need to and repair them.
I had that repaired one
Did you?
time,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good.
And, right back at my house, well,
Yeah, you're
right in here.
Yep.
And that clay tile, it goes around north of us to a creek. And if you disturb that tile, it's gonna affect me and my neighbor gonna get the worst of it.
Sure. No, that's actually, what we're trying to do is actually make it better. That's what we're trying to
I'm kinda up on the hill, and that last guy down there is gonna get the end of that water.
So what we're doing is we're actually placing an outlet structure on the ground pretty much. So we're not getting deep, and we're building this up to stop the water as it comes through.
That clay tile is probably about 3 foot deep.
Okay, that's perfect, because we're gonna be up above it then. We'll be up on the ground.
Is that legal?
Yeah, so we're placing this is actually, that
What I
structure.
said, I saw someplace in here that had to be a certain depth.
Yeah, that's an under drain tile. If you put an under drain, we have to put an under drain tile in here as well. So probably what we'll do is we'll probably tie into that. And that's just an under drain tile to keep our dry retention. It's not the outlet structure. It's just helping the groundwater underneath.
If you don't do that here, that tile is gonna take all the water in the ground, it's gonna shove it over in that corner of Possum Hollow Road and Watson Road. It already floods there
Right.
anyway, and they gonna get.
Yeah. So what we're doing, detention actually helps. That we're actually trying to stop the water from going anywhere. That's what these do. So what happens is all this water gets collected, and it'll flow into here. This will be a berm. There'll be a berm in this field, and that berm is just going to hold that water. And what it does, it slowly releases all the water downstream. It's actually on top of it. So that berm's, I think, 2.5, 3 feet tall.
The drainage, is it gonna come from here down to Watson Road?
No, it's going to continue as it goes. We're just going to slow it down before it goes. Now down here, those are going different ways. Those do the same thing, but down here.
Well, yeah, I'm lot 4 right here, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so this is lot 4. So yeah, so this one, same thing. We're gonna dam that up, hold the water as it comes, and then it slowly releases downstream.
They got a swell right there, by the road where it comes off that field into the ditch and it goes
That's
around
culvert underneath it, yeah.
these houses here. And I don't want that water coming on me.
No, it's still, this is all this water's still going down. We're not changing where the water's going. It's all still going where it goes. We're just slowing it down before it leaves.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, enough said.
Thank you.
Hey,
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, how about the board?
Sir, did you get your questions answered?
well, I got one more. If that drainage,
Can you please step up to the podium?
I got one question. If that drainage don't work, and if I start getting more water on me, that's a lawsuit. Forcing water on me that I don't need.
Well, truly is.
And I learned that a long time ago. And I can't, and see, there was a glacier come through here 1,000,000 years ago. And there's a bunch of rocks in that field.
Well, Greg tells stories about that, so you missed his story. You didn't tell his story today.
And the Eastburns that passed away, Ron told me about the rocks and all that stuff in there. So, yeah, I don't want that water divided on me there, forced on me.
The intention of this is to help the situation.
I hope so.
We've had this many times over the years, and this is meant to help the situation, not push water onto you.
And my neighbor, he can't even get out there, he'd come a shower, he can't mow his backyard so much. We got a high standing water table there.
Now, this won't solve his problem, but it won't make his problem worse.
I hope it helps us all.
It's gonna slow the water flow down. It's not gonna all come at one time, so.
When we get that water coming off that field build up water quick, and I get the first part of it. That guy at the end of the street, maybe 4 days later, he gets it. So I'm kinda high up, I'm good there, but my neighbor's not, so
We're not gonna change that.
I'm just saying that if, I hope it works. And who do I contact if it don't?
Guy in the yellow shirt.
Can I get the information from him? or-
He's our county surveyor. It's all over the place. Just look up county surveyor and you'll see Greg Cantwell, and that's who you'll talk to if you have a
All right.
problem, and he'll address that problem.
All right, I'm good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to reiterate, we're not directing the water there, it's already going there, we're just slowing it down.
Way Mother Nature is, water can't run uphill. The way the land is now, it's got a tilt to it, it's gotta go that way. And once you try to divert that water a certain way, Mother Nature ain't gonna like it.
She doesn't like us.
And that corner of Possum Holler and Watson Road is gonna get it. So,
You'll need to come to one of the meetings and listen to Greg tell his story. The whole east side of the county was a swamp.
yeah.
When they
See,
settled this county, the whole eastern side was a swamp.
out there used to be just farmland. And then they started building on. Well, I moved out there back in '89. And they were about 6 houses out there. Now, they starting to build on west of us there, where they talking about doing all the drainage work and everything, so
Okay?
I'm good,
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
My motion is to approve with the waivers, which were about 15 minutes ago, which is the reduction of the outlet from 4 inches to 3 inches, and owner's operator manuals need to be submitted. I think that's it, isn't it? 2 majors? Okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item is DR 25-999-3606 Jackson Farms minor plat.
You're back.
Again. Andrew Barkosi with Barkosi Surveying, representing the Jacksons. We're here tonight, looking at doing a similar thing. Have about 38 acres of farmland, have their current residence on the house, where they reside up in the northeast corner. Property is in, what township? We're in Union Township
You're
on
in
this one.
Union Township.
Yep,
That
off
is my neck of the woods.
yeah, off of 450, a little bit south of Harvey Minor Plant, which we just recently went through, that is under construction right now, so. Similar to this, we're coming in with large lots, subdividing out. I think the smallest is about 7.75, all the way up to 11.76 acres. We're coming in with 2 different drainage, dry detentions here for the 3 new lots. Lots 4 and 3 will flow north into a large dry detention in their area, and lot 2 will have its own little dry area. Again, we're meeting all the release rates. We are requesting, again, a waiver on the orifice size to make it smaller, to make sure we meet the release rates on lot 2, the pond on lot 2. And besides that, about it.
Again, Richard Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. Again, as with the previous one with Andrew, it seems like these things are just like rubber stamp. They look all alike. We are recommending approval of the reduction of the orifice size from 4 inches to 2 inches. We've done that before with a special screening. We were also, as with the previous one, the condition that the construction documents for the proposed pond and outlet, including plans and operations and maintenance manual, be submitted to the planning engineer for final approval. They do meet the drainage ordinance and technical standards requirements. and we recommend approval of the overall project.
So what was the reasoning behind lots 1 and 4 not having detention? Did I miss that?
Lot one's existing, so we're leaving that one.
Okay,
And then lot 4 and lot 3 are the same one. They share one up in the upper.
Gotcha,
That one
okay.
shares.
okay. Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? No? Okay. What about the board?
The only thing I want to thank is leaving 100-foot right away on coming off the road instead of making them flag lots at 50 feet. I appreciate that. And your comment on the east side, you've got all the water. They don't have any water on the west side. Maybe you can pipe some of your water over to the west side.
That field, what they talking about, my land is probably about a foot down. When it comes over that field, mine, it just gushes.
Does it head to the east or the west?
Mine is east.
Well, it needs to go to the west.
Yeah. They need all the water down there, and I mean,
It's driving a popcorn fart over on the west side. I'm serious.
Yeah.
mine is right now. On all the-
It's always dry over there. I'll move for approval with the conditions, dropping a 4-inch to a 2-inch. Right screening in the operator and owner's manual.
Can I have a question?
Sure.
You go from a 4-inch to a 2-inch, ain't that reducing it down?
That's the point. Yeah.
That's the point. Slow
When I
release.
say slow the water down,
Slows it down.
Yeah,
won't that back the water up?
correct.
That's why they have a detention area.
That's what it's meant to do. So you want to back the water up so that you don't get it downstream.
So,
Yeah, it's rock. So what it does is it looks like a grassy field, and then when you get rain, it fills up.
that's what a swell is right now, to the, south end of Bunker Road there, where the swell is. You come in there with a dozer and they cut them swells in there.
Yeah, those on the south side, those lines went in before the drainage, so they
I
don't have
wonder what
any, they don't have any
dry-
drainage.
I
Yeah.
wonder what that dry,
Yeah. But these are dry retention, so it'll firm up, and it's meant to hold water in the rain, so that you don't get the rain right away.
I hope so. I
Motion still stands.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
You guys have a good evening.
you
That's
done?
it for me, yeah. That's it for
Okay.
me. Take
Okay,
care, guys.
next item is DR 25-046, 3607 King Acres minor plat.
Brian Brown with Stepworth and Associates. The Kings and Kyle Elkins aren't able to be here tonight, so I'm just presenting everything. This is a 32-acre parcel just north of 252 on US 31. And we're looking to divide it into 4 lots. Lot 1 is an existing home. Lot 2 has a small dry detention basin on it. It is infiltration, and then lots 3 and 4 have a combined detention basin on it that is also infiltration. So the only waiver we're requesting is lack of underdrain, or not to put the underdrain in. It is an infiltration basin, and the soils there just soak up the water, so.
For the record, Richard Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. We recommend approval of this, and we also recommend approval to eliminate the underdrain. We've done it before based on soil types and how much they can infiltrate. One of the reasons that the soils are in this condition is because of the Sugar Creek floodplain goes through this site. It's also got the legal tile for Bradley, the Bradley legal tile. Obviously, the release rates are 0, so they meet with our detention requirements and our release rates. And we recommend approval of the overall project.
Anybody in the audience have questions, comments? Okay. What about the board?
Now, this flood map looks like it's being built in the middle of a lake, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's all blue.
you guys good?
I think so.
Bob, you got a question, or?
I don't, there weren't any conditions on this, was there? Because it doesn't have any under drain, doesn't
Okay.
sound like, because the soils are,
On the
That's
King,
correct.
should there be any utility easements on the side property?
did you hear that? Should there be any utility easements on the side
Sorry,
property?
I'm sorry.
There
Nope.
are though.
There are
You can.
drainage and utility
There
easements
are
on
on
the
there.
site. We do have one condition, the same as before, that the O&M manuals and the construction documents be submitted and approved by the planning engineer as those lots are developed.
Okay. I would make a motion with that only condition on operator and owner's manual being submitted to completion. So,
Waive the under.
And the waiver of the under drain.
Yeah, and waive the end of drink.
yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Brian. Okay. Next item is DR 25-999-3608 Center Grove High School Parking Addition.
Good evening, distinguished board members. My name is Chad Kincaid, and I am the engineer of record for the Center Grove High School parking expansion project. Let's go. So here's the main area that will be constructed. There will be some resurfacing and some seal and coating. Here's our demolition plan again. We'll have some milling around for the maintenance. And then here's our overall site plan, which shows the new parking laid out. This is existing. Here's the trustee building, just to kind of give you a little bit of a reference. And here's the additional parking right there. Up here, you can see where these larger spots are for bus parking, and then there's also for different times of day, there's vehicle parking there too. So here is the utility plan, or grading plan. Oh, great, I'm sorry. The grading plan. We're not changing any of our drainage patterns. The existing drainage areas will be the proposed drainage areas. We're not jumping sheds. And we're really, since it's a parking lot maintenance, there's not going to be major grade changes. We are using underground storage, and it will be located up here. We'll have two, one up here, will discharge up this way, and then one right here will discharge this way. Again, the reason we're having two is so we don't jump sheds. Everything that was draining this way to begin with is still draining that way to begin with, and vice versa. Any questions?
I'm assuming that this is grandfathered in since it was master plan, and this is being done after the new ordinance. Is that correct?
For the record, Richard Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. Actually, they are releasing the new pavement areas are meeting our standards for the .1, .3. They're also putting in mechanical units for water quality, which also meet our standards. They're not asking for any waivers. We've reviewed everything, the materials, everything meets our ordinance and our technical standards manual, and we recommend approval of the project. And the plans are very well put together, as was the drainage report.
Okay, anybody in the audience have questions, comments? Okay. Board?
Mr. Taylor's not gonna say anything tonight?
Appreciate it. This is gonna help us. We're currently working on some projects to help with traffic, so it will help the traffic flow as well.
Okay, I'll move for approval. No conditions. Rarity.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is DR 030-3609 Culver's Outlet Encroachment.
It's gonna get interesting.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. This is a municipal project. It's a Culver's Restaurant up on US 31 adjacent to Brewer. The outside review engineer has not completed their review, and I'd ask that this be continued to the next Drainage Board meeting, but I believe the engineer is online.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Hello, guys. Mike Courier, Surveying and Mapping. We're from the engineering firm working on the culverts. We're currently working with the town to work out some deals with potentially doing offsite storage. So there's a couple other issues in Whiteland, I guess, with the community library or the county library that they're working on. Potentially some issues with their detention basin. So we're kind of in discussions of how we can work out a joint complex for both of these projects to be moved forward. So we had some kind of correspondence with the town, and then some correspondence with the third-party engineer, Christopher Burke. So we're still working through those details at this time. So we're just asking for a continuation or be tabled to next month.
Yeah, so they think they'll be ready next month.
Yes, will you be ready next month?
That is the plan. Like I said, there's some moving parts between the town and what's going to happen with the library. So there's a lot of moving parts today that came out of this. Like I said, in the last week, it's been kind of here or there. So I'm really hoping that next month we have everything ready to go. Obviously, with construction season dwindling down at that point, by the time you get approvals in September to be open this year. So I'm really hoping that we will be ready to go next month. But I can't give a guarantee tonight, unfortunately.
I just hate to put it on the agenda and clutter it up. We'll look for it, but
I guess if they give us a notice, if he sees a week out that he's not gonna make it,
yeah.
the only thing I would,
Yeah.
I would move to continue this, but just be in communications with our surveyor and their office, because we got people show up, if you guys,
Show up.
it's just a lot of time and effort on a lot of people's parts, and then to get it canceled the night of, so.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah, exactly. Like, it was definitely as of when I woke up from bed this morning, I had full idea I was going to be presenting tonight. So a lot of things happened today. I do apologize, but yeah, we'll definitely be hitting the ground running tomorrow and getting this figured out well in advance for sure. So I do apologize for that, but thank you for the consideration.
Okay, I would move to continue next month.
Next month.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas.
Next up, DR 250293599, Scottsdale Estates, Section 6.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. I've got some stuff on this, but I'd like to give my report after they present their project.
Okay.
Good evening, EJ Mahboub with American Structure Point representing Gradison for this project. Section 6 of Gradison Estates consists of 72 lots of an overall 505 lot single family neighborhood. We have an outlet to Scott Pruner Ditch and Alexander Ditch that would take drainage from ponds 8 and 9.
Okay, Richard, or Greg, I'm sorry, were you gonna?
Again, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. On this site, it outlets to the legal drain, open drain, but north of that, across the south side of this, is a tile. And the idea would be to take that section and put the tile within a storm sewer. So the surveyor would recommend that we reclassify 950 foot of the Scott Pruner tile from the outlet of Scott Pruner Open north 950 feet, which would cross then, take care of this portion across them. Surveyor would also ask that the developer provide a description and exhibit for the Scott Pruner urban drain. An additional outlet be placed where they connect to the existing legal drain. We'd ask for an additional outlet to the west just because it's a little squirrely as to where it actually falls. And we want to make sure that we have a place to hook that into. We'd ask for a bond of $125,000 or the engineer's estimate, which is ever less. And then we'd ask for 48 hours notice before work starts on that drain.
Okay, does anyone in the, sir, if you could please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Larry Vandenberg, 4599 North, 225 West, Franklin, Indiana. Greg, are these the ditch there, Whiteland Road, we're gonna tie into that ditch?
Yes.
Okay. So how much water is being added to this ditch? Do we know? How many acres of houses is gonna go into this?
72 total lots.
72 total lots, so that's how many acres of ground?
About 49 acres.
50 acres. Extra water is gonna go into this ditch, am I correct? And that's the ditch that I'm involved with. Can I give you a pictures?
Yes.
I want them back. We got them all, I can get it from the other.
Okay, well, that's problematic, because if you present that to the board, it becomes a part of the public record and is kept by the board.
Okay, but one, you can keep one copy.
Oh, yeah, we just need one.
I just need one for this front cover, I didn't know.
Why don't you give the board that which you want the board to keep, and you hold on to that which you want to keep, so we don't get confused here.
Okay, so we're.
This is my crossing, this is my bridge that I put in the Robark Pruner ditch. You need another one? And if you look north, you'll see the grove of trees. If you look north, this is looking north from the Robark Pruner ditch. This is my section, this is my bridge that I put in this to cross this creek to get to my property, which is on the west side of the ditch. This amount of water is after 1.5 inch rain. All the water from Flapjacks, all that concrete over there, all comes to this ditch also. Now, we're gonna add 50 more acres of property that's gonna go in this ditch. So I think this ditch needs to be oversized, because it's gonna get bigger as it goes.
That's a good question.
I just got one question, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Are we adding the 50 acres of drainage being redirected to this ditch, or is it already coming to this ditch and they're putting houses on the 50 acres?
It is already within the watershed.
So that 50 acres already comes here now.
Yeah, but that's
Larry.
dirt. That's dirt, that's not concrete.
I know it is, but I need to see these plans as far as detention, what they're holding back. As we had this conversation you've heard earlier tonight, you know, we hold back that water for a slow release rate, which is gonna help other than sheet draining down into that ditch. And I haven't dug into these plans. I mean, it's these guys' job to
Oh, I
dig
know.
into that. And I probably will hear a report from one of them here in just a second to see what they think about this. So,
A question for you, sir. How much is the elevation gonna change from the ground level that you have now compared to what you're building? Because right now, you're adding 8 to 10 foot from existing ground level, you're raising the whole addition up, correct?
That is correct.
Right now, they're digging a pond out there 30 foot deep, a lake, to try to get added more dirt to be able to get sanitary drainage, correct? To fall because you can't go to the lift station.
Yeah.
So,
They will establish the elevations, planning.
yeah,
I don't know what they are, but I'm sure Dick knows.
you might tell us there in a minute.
The elevation's gonna be.
but I just wanted to show the pictures, the other ones which this is on the Meadowbrook deal. And
Does it
also
ever
the
go over
Forest.
that bridge, Larry?
Pardon?
Does it ever go over that bridge?
Not very often. It's real close. It has gone over there before. I mean, that's a 6 foot railroad pipe is what that is, tanker.
It
Because I
didn't
put
go
that-
over the
we-
bridge this spring. We had some pretty big.
Oh, it went over the bridge. this
Okay.
time. Yeah. But there is more water being added to this ditch all the time. And when you're gonna do the 4-star development, the Meadowbrook development, we're gonna have a lot more. And I've got other bridges that need to be replaced because of that, and when that time comes. But I just wanna realize how much water is going through this ditch. I mean, this is only after like an inch and a half of rain. And like, I didn't check it this morning, but we had an inch and a quarter this morning. You know, I'm all for it, but they're gonna have to, Greg, the ditch is gonna be made larger or
That's
something. I mean, that's.
Greg will probably talk
Greg
about
and I-
that here in a minute.
Yeah. But I'll take a tour, anybody wants to come out and look at it.
Been there.
Been there? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know me, I would widen every ditch we have in the county.
I know you wouldn't. One of the questions I'm gonna ask you is when's this slated to go to a 2-stage ditch?
I think it's a good candidate.
With all the development coming in and going to the 2-stage, which is gonna help the situation greatly.
The outlet physically and calculation-wise, it does meet our standards. We do have an approval letter from Burke on it for the review. And again, my recommendation would be to reclassify that first 950 feet to urban. And then on the south side of the bridge, there will be an outlet for the tile as there is now, but that'll be a new outlet that they'll combine with their pond outlet. Again, it does meet our standards of the new ordinance, but I'm always in favor of 2-staging.
Well, I mean, let's get a little bit deeper on the 2-stage ditch. I mean, how does that become a candidate? Financing, money,
It's all about money.
and it is, we're gonna look at it right here. Which ditch was that? Scott Brewer. There's too many names on there.
I don't see it.
Is it the Brewer ditch?
It's the Scott Pruner. What's the restaurant there at Whiteland Road?
Runs from Whiteland Road, goes down through my property, and then it goes south, it goes back east.
I'm trying to find it on here.
I don't see it on here.
Alexander, Alexander.
It's,
Scott Tile? Is it a
It's-
Scott Tile?
it's the Robards Pruner.
Marsh. Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay.
The breakfast place there at Whiteland Road and 135.
Yeah.
Flat Jacks, it's behind there. And then run south.
How long is that ditch?
It eventually comes to downtown Franklin.
Well, half the water in Johnson County comes downtown Franklin. You're gonna need more than that to do that, aren't you? Assessment's 97.
The best chance of two staging in that area is when what used to be the Coy Farm, there behind there, develops.
It's for sale. Also, all the way along 135, everything from the railroad track east goes to that ditch. Everything west of the railroad track goes to White River. So all this building that you're gonna be putting in there, all this goes through my property, all these ditches. And they're gonna get large.
It does, it makes
Lot
a
of
good,
water.
lot of good candidate for the two-stage.
It is.
Okay. And raising the elevation of that whole thing, I guess that's a Richard question. Raising the elevation of that whole, are you raising the whole elevation of the whole 50 acres?
No, parts of
Just parts of it? Or are you just making it rolling now?
it. One other thing, again, EJ Magoo. Not all 50 acres from this section is gonna go to Scott Pruner. We're utilizing Pond 2, which is an existing pond that takes about a third of the drainage and shoots it north towards Lone Pine Farms, which has been previously approved with the other sections as part of the drainage.
The developer pay all the costs of the, or abandoning the tile and making a sewer, is that?
Yes, for the reconstruction.
There'll still
Let
be,
me ask you this,
still be
if the
assessed.
board should approve this with those conditions, does your client accept the conditions?
I would have to go back to the client and
Okay,
make sure that they're on board with it.
great.
These are getting tough.
Yeah, they are.
Can I make another comment?
Sure.
These ponds that these people are putting in, which is fine, you need them. But those ponds get full and they overflow. Slowing them down, they're already full, they're not gonna slow it down anymore, they're all water's gonna go. If you look at these ponds that they're addition, I mean, they've got big ponds.
So if I can add a comment to that. Ponds generally are set at a normal pool elevation, which is held year-round. So for our 100-year elevation that we get from running our analysis, we generally keep a 2 feet of overboard on top of that. So that's basically the safety that's built into every single pond that's designed in this property.
If I understood what he said correctly, it meets all of our standards. Greg is just throwing in these conditions as a gratuitous thing. If that developer says, I need one of those conditions, he can't refuse.
I know it meets.
He can say, go take a hike, that's what we can do. So just keep in mind that imposing conditions is really mean, because you can't force it. He's entitled to the permit as submitted without him complying with the conditions. I don't know if the developer knows that, but probably does.
Oh, I would imagine. Bob, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
I kind of have mixed emotions.
You already do. Not for the drainage. I know.
These were made
I know.
adult areas. They come here, and they calls.
Oh, I know.
They don't pay you.
What's the?
They should. So that should be. We got people.
Says it meets all the flow, I guess.
So I know it's tough and all.
Yes, I'm the right time to get this conversation. That's
Well, we need to have a conversation, because the decision we make here is gonna be exactly that.
it's all legal, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and dump some money into there.
They won't.
We couldn't require the developer.
To impact anybody downstream,
Yeah, as long as there's
within reason.
yeah.
This all flows into the pond. Right.
So we're talking about impact fees for specific drains, which are really, they were there. Paying their share.
Pay the cost, yeah.
Is on time.
It's a tough decision.
It's done by commission ordinance. You can't do it on a case-by-case basis without an ordinance in place.
Yeah.
Authorized. So yes, it's a good idea. Yes, it could be done. As far as I know, it would happen. Until there's a commissioner's ordinance authorizing.
I know.
It has to come from commissioners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to deal with this.
Okay. This is a serious problem.
I get all the problems.
So what are we gonna do here?
Thinking about something, but I don't. How bad is it gonna hurt you if you hold off a month? Because I've got some major questions on this before I really put a motion on this.
Since I'm technically just representing our client, I was not involved in the overall design. That's a question I'd have to take back to the client, but I think Greg would be able to give some inputs on that.
Is there anything I can answer?
No, not at this point. I don't think there is. There's some other things that I'd like to investigate before I just give this an approval or recommend an approval for this. I don't know if I get a second, but I've just got some more in-depth questions that I would like to discuss in a broader term than in a public meeting. So it's going to take some time and some legal stuff. There's some things I need to think about a little bit harder before I put a motion, unless one of these guys want to put a motion on and vote it through. So I've just got some, this is creating a problem because the area is developing so fast and you are affecting a lot of people downstream. And nothing against the developers, they have a job to do. They're gonna come in, they're gonna build their subdivisions and they're gone. The people that live downstream are not gone. So I need to look at some more in-depth. I need to gather more information before I can really, before I put a motion on the floor. I mean, these guys can do what they want to do. If they want to put a motion on the floor, they're more than welcome to. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm not prepared tonight to make a motion for approval or denial on this. So that's where I'm gonna.
Greg, I have a question too. If it meets the ordinance standards and the developmental standards, why are you recommending these conditions? I mean, what's the rationale behind that recommendation?
My condition would be, the reclassification wouldn't be a condition. That's just something
Oh,
that
yeah,
we
no,
would.
that's a unilateral
Yeah,
act
we
on
would
your
just
part.
declare that. Condition to provide a legal description and exhibit for that new, what would be now an urban drain across that south side. They have not committed to doing that. That's just a condition I want.
Well, I think that's implicit.
The other would be for a bond. It's a little higher than normal, and that's just because they're putting in 950 foot of drain.
I think that goes with the territory as well, but I thought you were talking about adding an additional structure somewhere.
Within their design for that reconstruction, there's a structure that I'd like to have an additional outlet for, just because we're not 100% sure where that tile is. So we want to be able to have inlet into it.
So is this more in the nature of a reconstruction?
It would be across this property, yes.
That's where I'm kind of stuck here. I'm not, without a guarantee of the reconstruction or two-stage ditch being put in, and at what time, I'm kind of holding my cards
So then,
close.
are you saying that okay, I'm just trying to figure it out. Are you saying that the existing drains may not be able to accommodate this unless they're reconstructed?
No.
Okay.
The reconstruction would be because we are declaring that 950 foot of tile from tile to an urban drain. It would call for then it to be reconstructed.
All right.
Since it's across the property of the developer, they would bear the entire cost of that.
Well, as we agreed, the decision to reconstruct is yours. Or I mean, to declare an urban drain is yours, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And there's certainly a reasonable basis for that recommendation. So I don't think that's arbitrary or capricious. So if it is declared a legal drain, and I'm asking the question, and that puts us into a different approval process and criteria if we're now dealing with an urban drain?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if that clears anything. It sounds like a two-step process, though.
Well,
Declare an urban drain and then develop consistent with the
But he'll
development
only hold
standards.
that on his 950 feet on his property, on the developer's property, he holds that, but then it dumps right down into this, and that becomes the problem. That becomes my problem.
Right, but I don't think that's anything that can be addressed tonight by the board, the off-site issues. I'm just trying to figure out if the conditions can be made mandatory rather than voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me that reclassification as an urban drain
Becomes mandatory.
results in those conditions becoming now mandatory.
But
I understand where you're.
you see where I'm coming from.
I got you. And I think you're right, that absolutely does bear further discussion. On how to address that, not only here, but in other places.
Oh, I know we're not only here, but I mean, you're just gonna see this area even more because you've got so much development and this is gonna bear the brunt, because I don't think we've got another drain anywhere close to this because the west side is dry. And is there any other legal drains close to this?
There are.
Okay. All right, well.
I'd need to see a map. I'd wanna see the map on was just, can any of this stuff be redirected to other, studies? Burke, I don't know if they've looked at that, because I mean, that area is gonna get inundated. That whole area is just gonna blow up in the next 5 to 7 years. And I don't wanna be behind the curve and flooding people downstream because we haven't done what we need to do up front. So, and I don't think we should bear the total cost of this. I think the developer are comparable for some of this cost because they're creating the problem. So I'm not gonna put the taxpayers of Johnson County on the hook for some developer that's gonna come in and develop this. They have to have some financial investment in that. That's just my feeling. And since I'll write I'll be one of 3 writing this up, that will be in high consideration, so.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the need to have this declared an urban drain exists regardless of whether this particular development goes through or not, anticipating future development in the area, correct?
Correct.
And that's a consideration for making an urban drain is not only what's there now, but what's likely to come, all right? So that decision could be made in a vacuum without taking into account what's on the table right now. I don't believe there's a public comment requirement nor a public hearing requirement on a decision to convert it to an urban drain. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
And it can be done at one meeting based upon your recommendation.
Correct.
So tonight, if you recommend and the board approves that that section become an urban drain, it seems to me then that your conditions all of a sudden move from voluntary to mandatory in terms of approval. Am I right on that?
You're the attorney on that one.
Well, does that?
But I would agree with it.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm the attorney, you're the technical expert. You're the surveyor. This is your law. All right, so one thing that could happen tonight is that's declared an urban drain. Then those conditions, regardless of what happens downstream, if the board approves, and it may be constrained to approve, if it meets the ordinance.
I know it meets the ordinance.
Then those conditions will become mandatory. The improvement of the drain, the addition of the additional structure, and all those things, which sound like they're going to be needed regardless of whether this petition gets approved or not. Anticipating future development out there. So.
Still bites. Talk to Mr. Hydronic.
So there's nothing that can be done at a town meeting.
No, there can't be. No. No, I know that. I know it meets our ordinance. But he can declare an urban drain.
Yeah, my only concern is making those conditions mandatory.
Yeah, instead of
not
voluntary.
optional,
Yeah. But that's Greg's call.
Exactly, but it seems like that's the best you could do, given what's presented to you, because it meets the ordinance requirements.
I guess it's willing, if Greg's willing to do that, he can declare it tonight.
Yeah.
And that's not a
I thought
board
that's what he
decision.
did. I thought that's what he said he did.
I just want to, I guess I'd reiterate that.
We don't have to vote on
Mm-mm. We have to vote to approve this.
Or continue to.
I want to continue it because I still have my concerns. And I can ask for continuation from the board's
That's why the board
perspective.
has the authority to do that.
Yeah, and I'm
There's a
going to
reason.
exercise it tonight. I've never exercised it in 12 years, but I'm thinking I'm going to exercise it tonight because I don't like this.
You've not done that.
I don't think we've ever, I mean, we might have just arbitrarily, we had to take a hit for somebody.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think I've.
Oh, you've had them come here that are unprepared and haven't submitted everything, and still demand approval and continue.
There's only 3 illegally, whatever it is, so.
All right, excuse us. So, Mr. Surveyor, tonight, are you declaring that 982-foot section an urban drain?
I am.
Thank you. All right, we got that.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion for continuance from the board. As I stated earlier, I've got a lot of open questions that I still need to get answered, and it's not going to be answered tonight, I can guarantee you that. I thank you for your presentation, but I'm going to take the continuance on this. So I'm going to ask the board, maybe nobody seconds me,
I'll second it. In the meantime, he can talk to his people about
the urban drain.
conditions.
What is going to be that the method of that conversation? Is that gonna be something that needs to be presented on, or is that gonna be over email? Or
For
how would
the
that be?
email or the questions?
For the questions,
There's a lot of things that we have to do
like on a
on
back
our
end?
side.
Okay.
And Greg will keep you in the loop on that. We'll start working on this. And I'm hoping I don't know if it'll be a month. That's why I said I'm asking the urgency with what the developer is pacing himself.
I mean, I cannot 100% speak for them, unfortunately, but from what I know, it is rather urgent.
Yeah. So,
After the crops get off.
I guess I can only ask for 30-day continuance, but I'm not gonna ask for 60-day.
It's like Kurt Vonnegut said, anyone can call timeout, nobody knows for how long. You can ask for continuance.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for 60-day continuance on this. So, that's my motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. And that concludes, Greg, do you have anything else you want to share?
I do not.
Okay, so we need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next meeting's August 5th.
Oh, it is July, isn't it?